After a lot of chaos, Kanye West has finally dropped Donda 2 via the STEM Player website. Now, I'm going to be reviewing the February 25th update of this. If it's changed by the time this video came out, then whatever. Just know, I mean, you can go on the Wikipedia and see what changes were made for this update, probably. The only difference between this update and the original album that was put out like the day before is that he removed Keep It Burning featuring Future, which honestly makes the album slightly better because I didn't really like that song a lot anyway, aside from like an incredible sample that was used on it. But yeah, the way I'm going to do this, I've never done like a quick review for an album, but the way I want to do this is I'm just going to go song through song, giving some really quick thoughts on each of them. At the end, give some more general broad thoughts, and then give you my score out of 10. So let's get into it. Oh yeah, real quick, I do want to say at the end of the video, I probably will also with the score. I might give like a track list ranking if I feel like it. I don't know if I will. We'll see. It depends on editing. We'll see if I do an editing or not. And I'll probably tell you my ranking, where it sits in my Kanye West like albums ranking. If you watch that video, if you haven't seen that video, it'll be in the description. So yeah, let's actually get into it now. I think True Love is a really great intro and a really solid tone setter for the album. X gives an absolutely incredible feature. He sounds phenomenal here. A great verse from Kanye with some really great writing, which isn't something you can always say, and it's a really great and cinematic feeling song to start the album with. Broken Road is a pretty great interlude track, but there isn't a ton to say outside of that. There's a phenomenal feature from Don Toliver. I really love the chill beat, and Kanye gives a mostly solid verse, even if it has some pretty rough lines. I'm referring to the homeless person line. But yeah, there's not a ton else to say outside of that since it is so short. Then we have Get Lost. I get what Kanye is doing here, and I like some of what he's saying, but this is definitely the first miss in the album for me. It could have been cut shorter, and it would have gotten the exact same point across. This isn't anything I'll ever want to listen to when going through the album, because it's literally just auto-tuned Kanye going on for 2 minutes with no beat. Moving on from that, we got Too Easy. The beat here is absolutely insane, but I think the effect on Kanye's voice gets really old after a while and doesn't work when stretched out to a whole song. Maybe it would have worked better if it was kind of like confined to the chorus or something. And also, it's extremely repetitive. I was not feeling this one that much. Flowers is a weird one because I don't love it, but I don't know why. I think the beat has a really interesting sound to it. The lyrics are mostly solid. I love the sample, but there's something about it that just hasn't clicked with me. But this is the song. Every time I'm done listening to this album, which I've probably listened to it about 4 or 5 times now. Every time I'm done, this is the song that gets stuck in my head after. So, I mean, maybe that means something. I don't have a ton to say about Security, but it feels like something straight out of the Yeezus era. It has a very abrasive and interesting beat and delivery, and I think Kanye sounds great on it. This song should be annoying. I don't think this song should work the way it does, but it works pretty well, and it makes me happy, and it's one of the best ones here. Next, we got We Did It Kid featuring Baby Keem and Migos. This is a much more uplifting song in the middle of a really dark album, and I appreciate that a lot. Baby Keem and Migos have what might be the best features on the album here. They all really did great. Kanye was barely on it, and I'm not 100% sure how I feel about that. And the censoring got kind of distracting in the Migos section, but other than those things, this was a really great one. Now we got Pablo featuring Travis Scott and Future. This one has a great beat, it has an incredible Travis Scott feature, and it has a pretty solid Kanye verse. But it has an absolutely abysmal Future feature, and it's the worst feature of the album for me. It sounds like he's sleepwalking through the verse, and it sounds like he doesn't know what he's supposed to be doing here. I really hope this either gets fixed or removed, because in its current state, it completely ruins the entire song for me. And now we get to Louis Bags featuring Jack Harlow. This has an absolutely insane sample of Kamala Harris, and I'm not 100% sure what role it's supposed to play in the song. It's annoyingly repetitive. This one is really, really repetitive. Kanye's verse is extremely unfinished, and it's the first time where that has actually been a big enough issue for me to want to bring it up. The beat is good up until a certain point where it's like, I think it's the bass just completely takes over everything, and everything else gets really weird and crunchy, and I hate it. Jack Harlow gives us pretty solid verse, but other than that, I did not like this one at all. Then we have Happy featuring Future. This has an insanely great beat, an absolutely fantastic Future feature, and he honestly carries the song, which was surprising coming off of Pablo. I love the ideas and the flows of Kanye's verses, but they're incredibly unfinished, which gets extremely distracting after a while. And I also do think it runs on a little long. That fourth verse is completely unnecessary, in my opinion. Then we have Sci-Fi featuring Sean Leon. This is a very cinematic song that gives me heavy 808s and Heartbreak vibes, which that's my favorite Kanye album, so I'm always down for that. It's a pretty decent feature, but it's quite forgettable. And I like what Kanye is saying outside of the insane Morgan Freeman line. Other than that, there's not a ton to say about this. It's a pretty chill song. I'm kind of into it. Then we have a Selfish, once again, featuring XXXTentacion. X, once again, sounds really solid here. There's some extremely stripped back production, which I do kind of enjoy. And the song as a whole is a decent idea, but I think it's presented in an insanely forgettable way. Then we have Lord Lift Me Up featuring Vori. It's a wonderful interlude for the album, and Vori sounds absolutely incredible here. Next up, we have City of Gods with Alicia Keys and Fivio Foreign. An absolutely incredible beat here that I just absolutely love. A great Alicia Keys feature on the chorus. And both Fivio and Kanye go at length with some really great verses, much like they did on Off the Grid. Although this isn't quite as good, this is really good though. And then finally, rounding up the album, we have First Time in a Long Time featuring Soulja Boy. Kanye has a pretty solid verse, but it sounds pretty unfinished, which gets a little annoying. Soulja Boy surprisingly has a really solid verse, and it feels very appropriate for an outro. This and City of Gods leave the album on a pretty uplifting note compared to most of the rest of the album, and I like that. I'm okay with that. So yeah, that's the song breakdown. Some general thoughts. This thing needs to get finished. In its current state, I don't love where it's at. There's a lot that can be fixed here. Specifically, I mean, the future feature has to either go or get fixed because it's awful. Like, seriously abysmal. Completely drags down Pablo. And then there are so many Kanye verses across the entire album that are just unfinished, where he is just mumbling his way through it, just kind of like, filler until he actually gets some lyrics in there. So I really, really hope that those features or those verses get fixed. I think this could be a better album if it does get finished, and if maybe a couple songs get taken off of this. I don't know. I didn't listen to through the entire listening party, but I'm sure there were some great ones that didn't make the cut here. Maybe replace like Louis Bags, I don't think is necessary. Honestly, Selfish can probably go. Get Lost and Too Easy I wasn't too into. Yeah, I don't know. This is solid. This is a solid album where it's at right now, but I don't love it, and it's not something I'm going to be listening to a ton outside of a few songs. So yeah, I'm going to give this one a 7 out of 10, but keep in mind, that's an extremely light 7. Pretend I'm Anthony Fantano. I'm going to give this album a light 7 because, honestly, I was going to give it a 6 out of 10 until this man took off Keep It Burning because I didn't like that one that much. That was a pretty mid song, but he did take it off. I think that made the album better. Not by much, but a little bit. It kept it away from a 6 out of 10 for me. So I do think this is the second worst Kanye album. In my ranking, I would put it above Jesus is King, below Graduation, and here on the screen you can see my track list ranking. Yeah, I don't know what I expected from this. I wish it came out a little more finished, but I'm assuming he will fix it. I do want to say, once he updates everything, I'm going to give this a few months. I'm going to give this a while. Once I feel like he has updated it enough to warrant me making another video on it, I will make another review. I will make a review just like this, kind of going through it and seeing what updates he made and giving it a different score if it needs a different score. It might not need a different score. We'll see. We'll see. But I do hope it gets finished because this could be a pretty cool album. It just is extremely unfinished in its current state, and I hope, that he actually goes through and finishes it. So that's going to do it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see all of you guys in the next one.